Hello everyone, today we'll be making Thing Addams from Wednesday. We're going to start out by stacking and filling our vanilla cake with vanilla buttercream. I did build a structure for this cake. It is built from MDF board and threaded rod, which goes up through his thumb, and then the rest of the fingers are just aluminum armature wire. Now that I have the cake stacked and filled, I'm going to start carving it down to make the shape of the wrist and the top of the hand. I'm using white chocolate ganache instead of buttercream to crumb coat the cake. This will make the cake a little bit sturdier, so it'll hold up as we take our modeling chocolate and start to sculpt the features of the hand. I'm using a mixture of fondant and modeling chocolate. I like to use this mixture when I'm sculpting and painting cakes. The modeling chocolate makes it nice to sculpt and blend any seams, and then the fondant makes it so it's easier to paint it later. Once I have it rolled out to about 1/8 of an inch thick, I wrap it around the cake so that the seam is in the back. Now it's time to add the fingers. We're not going to worry about the details right now, we're just trying to get a general shape of the whole hand. I'm pinching and thinning out the modeling chocolate to form the webbing between the fingers. I'm adding pieces and blending them in to form the knuckles. What's nice about this cake is you can use your own hand for a reference. Now it's time to start sculpting the details. I'm adding long thin pieces from the knuckle to the wrist above every finger except for the pinky. I gently blend in the edges to form the bones on the top of the hand. Now it's time to start sculpting the details into our fingers. This is where the cake really starts to come together. I'm adding deeper lines to the knuckles and fine lines all over the rest of the finger to give it more texture. Now I'm just going to repeat for the remaining 4 fingers. Once I'm all done with the fingers, I'm going to lightly add in some markings for the veins on the top of the hand. Now I'm using the bristles from a brush to add in texture and force to the top of the hand. This brush has only ever been used for cake decorating. It's time to add in his stitch lines. I used a reference picture for this. Once I have the lines marked in, I'm going to use the end of my tool and poke holes on either side of the lines for the holes for the stitches. At the top of the wrist, I put lines instead of holes so it looks like the stitches are pulling down on the skin. I'm using dark red foam coloring to paint in the stitch lines and around the fingernails. Using a watered down mix of pink, orange, and yellow food coloring, I paint it all over the cake and then dab it away with a paper towel. I like to use this technique when I'm working on cakes with a lot of texture. The food coloring will settle into all the details that we made, and when we dab it away, it'll just leave a little bit of the color on the surface. I'm adding some red to the knuckles around the fingernails and the stitch lines to give it a more weathered, chapped look. I'm going in with a darker shade of the skin tone to any deep creases or lines that we have to enhance them. Now it's time to paint our veins. For this, I'm using a very light watered down blue. Now it's time to paint in the stitch lines. There he is, all finished. Let's cut the cake. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.